Okay, ladies, so this is our third panel for, yes, you have.
We'll do that after.
Thank you, Mackenzie. This is our third panel, and so I think you guys are like in for a special treat. The first panel was current students. The panel that you guys had last night was women in IT. And this panel is a group of ladies who actually graduated from the College of IS&T here at UNO. And so you'll be able to ask them a bunch of different questions, and also your teachers aren't here. And so you can really ask them really candid questions about what it's like to be in college, the different experiences they had. So anything that you were kind of afraid to ask when your teacher was here, ask it now, okay? So first, I would like for the panelists to start off by introducing themselves, talk about the degree that you graduated with and what you're doing right now in terms of your career. Okay, so if we can start off right here. There you go.
Okay, what was the question again?
Okay, your name.
Shauna Dorsey.
What degree did you graduate with?
Okay,
The degree that you graduated with and where you're working at now.
okay, so I graduated from UNO with an undergrad and master's degree in management information systems. Currently, I own a company. I do web developer training. We're called Interface Web School. So I started that up last year. It's a lot of fun to run your own business. It's also really crazy, so it's fun.
Hello, my name is Leanne McNaughton. I graduated from UNO in last year. I did a 5-year bachelor's master's program in management information systems, and I currently work at an IT consulting company called Agile Transformation.
Okay. I think I met everybody yesterday. I'm Kate Cooper. I graduated with a degree in bioinformatics in 2007, and now I do research at UNO at PKI.
My name is Stephanie Peterson. I graduated almost 3 years ago as the first IT innovation graduate, and I also got a degree in computer science. Since then, I've been at Client Resources Inc. or CRI, and I've worn a few different hats. I started as a developer, got into some design work, and then I'm also a business analyst, so I work on a lot of requirements for our clients.
My name's Pam Sampson. I have an undergrad and master's in computer science. My master's is from UNO. My undergrad is from Lincoln. I currently work at a company called Northrop Grumman, and we write software for the military, Department of Defense. I saw you guys had some tweets up there about that. I'm a software developer, so I do Java coding mostly.
Hello, my name is Angela Molini, and I just graduated from UNO last May with a bachelor's degree in computer science and information assurance. And now I work at the Interpublic Group, or IPG, as an IT business analyst.
So is there anybody right now that has any questions for these ladies? Mackenzie?
What is the single most important piece of advice you'd give us students?
I had a pre-prepared answer for this one. It's okay. So as a woman in IT, you're going to face discouragement, and you're going to get, the going is going to get tough at some points. But my advice is to just keep on going, because there are few better feelings than, standing up there at graduation, getting your degree, knowing that you're getting a degree in a male-dominated field, and you've come so far to get there. And then also the other piece of advice is to do it for yourself. So, yeah.
Okay, so I would say that guys face a lot of the same things that you face. They're just better at faking it most of the time. And so I would say always don't be afraid to ask for help, and don't feel like if you ask for help, you're coming off as unprofessional, or like you don't know what you're doing. But know when to ask for help, and don't be afraid to.
I'm going to piggy off of that answer. Yeah, fake it till you make it. Like, honestly, I'm sure all of us, well, I can't speak on behalf of, I speak on behalf of myself. I've, faked it and pretended I've known what I've doing until I actually know what I'm doing. So it's okay if you don't know. And also try everything and anything. Like there's so many opportunities in the tech, and so just try and do anything and everything. Go out anywhere, like she said, ask anybody for questions. So just explore all the options.
That's exactly what I was going to say is explore all your options. See what opportunities are out there. Talk to the people at your school. There's always like career development programs, and there's so many different roles in technology. So just go after what you're interested in and what you're passionate about, and don't be scared to take any risks.
Do you have any other questions? Besides Mackenzie right now?
I think it was the second from the left. You said that you owned a business. Oh, first. Okay. So, what did you go go here for your business degree, or did you go to another college, or did you just start it without?
Yeah, I did not go to business school. I have an MIS degree, so there are some business aspects to that program, like business courses that you take. But a lot of the experience I've gotten over the years, like the 15 or so years I've been in IT, I've applied to this business venture. So, yep.
Any other questions?
How did all of you guys get into the IT degree?
For me, it was like a why not decision. It's like, why not do this? But it's funny because my family is really technology oriented. Like my father, my brother, my parents, everyone was in technology. So because of that, I kind of wanted not to do it. I was like a rebel without a cause, kind of. And then I came here, and then I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And my advisor is just like, well, you're always doing IT classes. I was like, yeah, because they're easy. And then so he recommended MIS, and I was like, okay, why not do it? And then I was going to graduate, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. And then I saw the 5-year accelerated program to do the master's. So I was like, why not do it? So for me, it was kind of like a why not decision until like I found exactly what I wanted to do, and now I'm like moving forward in that direction.
I'm not sure if we have any Marion girls here, but that's where I went to high school, and I just learned that my partner here also went there. But they had a really big push there to push women into science, and that helped me a lot because it just made me not intimidated to go and try those. And when I did try it, I loved the feeling of my homework showing something on the screen, and that was what I dug about it. Plus, it's like a challenge, and you feel accomplished when you finish it. So that's what kept me going. But I think it's really awesome that this here today is pushing you girls into it as well and giving you some confidence, because that's what I needed to get into the field.
Yeah, I think I had kind of a backwards experience. So my first computer in the family came around 5th grade, and I spent a lot of time on it. I played a lot of video games, and The Sims had just come out, stuff like that. And I toyed around with making little websites for myself. Like I made a Destiny's Child fan site. And then I kind of forgot how interested I was in IT, and I never really thought about pursuing it. I actually did. I had no major for my first year of college, and finally it occurred to me that I love technology, I'm passionate about it, and it was the field for me.
For me, it wasn't as cerebral. I applied for basically any scholarship that I qualified for, and I got a Scott scholarship, which allowed me to get into PKI and had the IT component. So for me, I kind of followed the money. I saw, oh, I get a full ride and a computer, and I get to live actually in this building. And then when I went to talk to Dean Ali about it, I asked him, I can fix my parents' computer, but I don't know anything about programming. Can I do this? And he said, oh, absolutely. We teach you. That's what school is for. So I kind of lucked into it. But kind of mirroring what Leanne said, if you follow the opportunities, there's a lot of opportunities, particularly for women in IT as well.
Any other questions?
What are some of the moments that you remember most from your times in college and all that? Like what do you first remember when we ask you what were some of the moments that you remember vividly compared to others during your classes, spare time, or whatever?
So I remember that just looking back on my education, that I really did not take advantage of all that was available to me. And so at UNO, there is so much available to you. There's so many great mentors, instructors, students, alumni, all that stuff. And so I would say if you go here, just be sure to plug into the network that's available, because I didn't take advantage of that and I wish I would have.
And I think in terms of what one of you guys said earlier, don't be afraid to ask questions. I remember from college going to PKI, and there were mostly guys who didn't say anything during classes at all. You know, people would just come to their classes, keep to themselves, you know, not really say anything to anybody else. And I was usually the only student to ever ask questions in class. And sometimes I felt like people thought, oh, well, you know, either why doesn't she know this, or why isn't she just going to try to figure it out on her own? But they were also probably thinking, wow, I'm happy that she asked this question that I was thinking too, that I was too scared to ask. So I remember asking a lot of questions, and I guess, yeah.
What I remember the most are the topics that I had the most passion about, and some of the classes, just like the intro to topics, are some of the best classes that you can take, because you can figure out what you're really interested in, and it's a wide breadth of topics that you learn. Like information security was really interesting. And participating in a capstone course that is all about something that you created and that you could see yourself doing long term was just really interesting. I'll never forget it.
So me, I was kind of all over the place in college. I did track and field, and so I was always away and doing different things. So that was pretty memorable, but the most memorable things was studying abroad. When Shauna talks about like opportunities at UNO, like you could study abroad anywhere for an extended period of time and get scholarships to do that. So I tried to do that as much as I could. My track scholarship allowed me to. So I went to Norway for a semester. I went to Vietnam for a summer. And if I could have gone somewhere every semester or every year, I could have. But unfortunately, I couldn't. But that was probably my most memorable events in college. So you guys should study abroad. It will change your life. Trust me. And when you get money to do it, so it's not out of your pocket, it's even better.
For the woman who went to Marion, what kind of classes do you suggest taking to go into the IT field?
To go into, I'm sorry.
What kind of classes would you suggest taking for someone who plans to maybe go into the IT field?
Oh, I guess, in my opinion, the more basic stuff you can get out of the way makes college a lot more fun, because you're going to have a strong math background. So if you can get that all out of the way in high school when you have smaller classes and you're not in an auditorium with 100 people, that makes it a lot easier. You know, you can ask questions easier and talk to the teachers and have more resources. But any basic computer science, because I remember I took my first class at Marion, programming class, and it's a foreign language. I had no idea what I was doing, and I was just getting my feet wet. So then when I did see it for my first semester, again, I had to take a different language. But when I saw it my first semester in college, it was like, okay, that's not as scary as I remember the first time. Like I just kind of started grasping topic. It takes some time. I mean, 7 years into my career, and there's still things like I have no idea what they're talking about. That just happens because the technology is so vast. So, and
Do they still have the TAR program at Marion? Do you know? You can be, so it's called Technical Aid Resource Student. You can like start to be a TAR when you're a junior. You have to like apply for it and stuff. I don't know if they still have the program there, but if they do, you definitely should apply for it, because you work over the summer, you know, and on the like computers and the server rooms and all that kind of stuff. So that's what really got me into IT. I was like, wow, you know, this is really fun and interesting, and I like it. And it was just being, you know, exposing yourself to computers more, and also with the programming class. I think like when we were there, Marion only had one computer programming class, so at least take that for sure.
What do you like most about your job?
Honestly, I like that I don't have to share the bathroom with anybody. I'm being dead serious. But I like that a lot of times, you know, in tech jobs, you can wear jeans. It's casual. And just, it's very laid back. If you do look at the research, software engineering is one of the least stressful jobs on the planet. Yeah. Yeah, our deadlines aren't hard. You never feel like, oh, if I don't get this done today, nothing's going to happen. So I like the lot of stress.
Yeah, I think it depends on the environment. I like it a lot because it's each day is different and each day is a new challenge. I work on client-based projects where we get to use a lot of new technologies, and there's always new technologies coming out. So getting to learn a new technology and take advantage of the newest stuff in the field is really interesting. But for client-based projects, it can be a little difficult, but there's a lot of good too.
Sure. Okay, so I guess I like three things. One is that running a startup, you can wear jeans anytime that you don't have a meeting. Two is that I'm kind of, this sounds bad, so I'm not going to say that. Yeah, I will. I'm kind of making it up as I go, right? So I'm looking with this business that I have, I'm able to look at the market and see what it needs and then decide what we're going to do next. So that's really fun to kind of make up what you do next. And then I have interns that work for me that never go into the office. So that's awesome for them because I don't need to see them. I just need them to get the work done. So that's pretty cool.
About my job, it's really flexible. I make my own hours. I work from home on Wednesdays. And if I don't have meetings on Fridays, I work from home. And then it's also nice because people who aren't in IT, like we work with researchers from UNMC, and these are top HIV researchers. They're very smart people. And when we tell them what we can do with their data, they kind of look at you like, are you a wizard? So it's kind of nice to have that recognition as well, to be able to do something that a lot of people can't do.
And if you didn't, both of these said, the beauty of technology is that you can work anywhere at any time and do anything. Like you're not confined to your desk. Well, some jobs will confine you to your desk, but like the liberty of being able to, oh, I'm gonna work from home today in my pajamas and not do anything else besides stay in bed, you can do that and you're still working. So the flexibility of the technology field is a beautiful thing.
One more thing I would add is if any of you are thinking about having families, it is wonderful for that sort of lifestyle because you can be at home with your kids and you do have that flexibility. So yeah.
I would also like to note that not one of us said money when I'm sure we all pretty much make good money up here.
That's interesting. It is one of the best paid fields too, by the way.
One of the questions I wanted to ask to you panelists, I know when you're in college, it's not all about work and study. You definitely have a social life. So you have parties, there are sororities that you can be a part of. Can you guys talk about how you kind of balanced your social life with also trying to be a good student? Any challenges that you may have had with that? I had a lot.
Yeah, you just don't sleep. Like you can choose. Yeah, you can choose to have a good social life, a good school life, or a good sleep life, or whatever you choose to. Like so. Well, one really awesome thing about having the Scott Scholarship through PKI was that you get to live on campus for free. You get this cafeteria, so like the food that you guys are eating now, like every single day for free. And so that was really nice. I really recommend living on campus to kind of immerse yourself into social life, especially here because a lot of people are going through the same things as you. There's always someone who will be there to help you with something or, even just goof around, that kind of thing.
I kind of had a different experience. I don't know how I did it, but I managed to do it all. Like I did track and field. I somewhat had a social life. I did academics in my school and was still managed to do it. I think I kind of had the mentality of if I want to do it, I'm going to do it. So I just did it. So having the mindset of doing what you want to do when you want to do it and not feeling like you have to sacrifice something all the time. Just be like, if I want to do this, I'm going to do this. And just prioritization, I guess that's what I'm boiling down to, and time management, even though good time management. But I don't know. I think it's magic how I managed to get it all done, to be honest with you. It just managed to somehow all work out. So I don't know, just do it.
So in high school, I remember feeling the pressure to do everything and get like my resume really built up and everything like that. When I got to college, I was like, I'm in a really good field. I'm going to pick a couple things and just say no to everything else. So I chose sorority and I did intramural sports, and I had, and obviously I was in bioinformatics and an internship through them. But I think you're right in that you got to pick between those three things: getting enough sleep, getting your schoolwork done. But that can change on a weekly or daily basis. I mean, that doesn't have to be your whole college experience. I remember being in the library during finals week on a Thursday, and I had awesome friends who came and found me and were trying to like, let's go. And I was like, I have a final tomorrow, so I have to find a deeper hole to hide in the library. So it just finding that balance and making your own priorities.
Yeah, I would add to that too. It's all about prioritization, when you have to balance your grades and whether or not you have to work and whatever extracurriculars you have, you really just have to look at your priorities and be aware of what you want to focus on and what you want to excel at. And don't be afraid to say no in some cases when you know there's other priorities that you need to get to.
At what part of your life did you realize that this was the field that you wanted to go into for sure?
I think I already touched on that just barely because it was the second year of college. Even though I probably figured that out, I mean, when I was tinkering with websites in like 6th grade, I probably should have noticed, but I never really had a program or some encouragement to tell me that that was the field to go into. So I probably would have picked up on that earlier if there was opportunities like this for you girls. So I got introduced probably 6th grade and forgot about it for about the next 6 years.
Great. So I believe Abigail, right? Is it the end of the panel over there? Is that the name? Angela. I was sorry. How did you get into the workforce from college? How did that transition go for you? Did you find it online or something? Or?
Okay. So Interpublic Group does a lot of recruiting at UNO. So freshman year of college, they had some like a booth, in the PKI atrium for Interpublic Group. And so I just went there on a whim. I was like, okay, I'm going to try to get a job. I'm already a semester into college and I feel like I could maybe balance another thing. And so I talked to the recruiter there and then I applied and got the job. And so I was an intern for 3 years there. And then at the end of college, I applied for a full-time position and I got it. So I would say internships are a really great way to get your foot in the door, and you don't have to stay at the same company for 3 years and then go full time, like I did, because I feel like not a lot of people do that. But at least getting that first internship nailed down, kind of early in college, you'll get a lot of on-the-job experience and then be able to apply that to both school and then, your future internships.
I would agree with her. I got my first job through an internship, but my second job through Shauna, this one right here. So it really is about internships, but also who you know. Like networking is a big thing in the well, not just technology, but anything in life. So how the notion of people in technology are like geeky and in the corner and by themselves to themselves. That's great, but it's also good to be sociable and know people and to get involved with other things.
And I would just add that when you're nearing the end of your college degree, there's a lot of recruitments. There's tons of openings in this field. I'm pretty sure there's more openings than there are developers at this point. It's hard to even to hire on good developers and people in those roles. So there's just tons of opportunities as soon as you start getting to your junior or senior years that the college will help you with too.
I would also say that something that can help you set yourself apart from other candidates are things that you do in the community outside of school. So if you have an opportunity to mentor young girls in high school after you get into college, that is a great way to set yourself apart. Also, just being a good developer is not enough to keep a job. You have to be able to work well with others. So the more projects you can do on teams and things like that, the better off you are. And always be networking. Like that is the key for sure, or a key, I should say.
I just wanted to know if you guys had any crushes on the guys in your guys' classes and all that.
I probably did. Like, no one's going to admit it up here, but I think so. I probably did. I don't know who, but I'm sure there was a guy that was cute.
I got married to a guy that I was in one of my classes with, so it's all good. You can definitely find people. You have to find the guys that are willing to like talk though, you know, the social guys.
So your guys in technology? Okay.
I think it's funny. My husband now is a gamer, and we met through, kind of geeky, kind of similar likes. And a lot of his friends would be in my classes, so that was kind of interesting. But
I didn't specifically, but my roommate, who was MIS, married a guy from computer science, and they were Scots. They actually invited Walter Scott to their wedding, but and he was one of those guys that never came out of his room till like senior year. He always was in playing World of Warcraft. So get them out of their rooms because they can be really cute once they talk to you.
What was the biggest obstacle that you had to overcome
So
to get
have
to
you
where you are now?
Have you ever heard of imposter syndrome? Okay, no. Anyone? No? Oh, in the back. Yeah, what is imposter syndrome in the back? Yeah, no, it's not a rhetorical answer.
Is way smarter than me. They all know they're smarter than me. Or if they don't know, they're going to figure out in the next test or the next project or the next time I give a speech because it's so obvious that I don't belong here.
So imposter syndrome is like you just think less of yourself and you think the accomplishments that you do have aren't you. It's just like, oh, that happened, but that was an accident. Or it was by fluke that I got this done or whatever. So I used to like suffer from imposter syndrome and not think that I was as smart as everyone else or as good enough or I couldn't do that. So biggest obstacle. So the imposter syndrome and how I overcame it was I got a mentor who happens to be to my right here. So getting a mentor to talk to and then help you overcome those obstacles and then having them, just reinforce that you are good enough and that it is okay and you can do this. So that's how I overcame my imposter syndrome, getting a mentor.
My biggest obstacle was like I could get good grades in school, but I was terrified to go out into the real world and go on interviews and answer questions like, do you know what this coding term is or what this computer term is? Because again, the subject is so vast that you feel completely overwhelmed with any of those questions. And so what I did is keep going to school. So I went straight into my master's program, and then eventually I had to graduate. And and I started going on job interviews, and Omaha's not that big of a place. So I got to an interview where I knew the people interviewing me. They were students of mine because I work at UNO teaching a class. So at that point, I got over my I'm scared feeling because I was actually their teacher. So it just took time, I guess, to overcome that obstacle.
I think for me, my biggest obstacle was one that I caused myself, and it was procrastination. Have you ever heard of what's that saying? It's like about an elephant. Like anyone can eat an elephant if you take it off one bite at a time or something like that, right? That sounds really bad, but basically, it's just that you can accomplish things if you just do them in small chunks. So you can't procrastinate and then try to do something in small chunks. So I would say like, get out of your own way, plan your things, plan your work accordingly, and just break things into small, achievable chunks.
When you traveled for track and field, did you find any trouble in keeping up with your classes at all? And if you did, how did you manage that?
Yes and no. So what I did, I carried my books with me. And the way how we planned it, like I had to schedule my classes kind of around my practice or my practice around my classes. And then so what I would do, I knew that we would be gone every Friday, Saturday, and sometimes Sunday in the spring. So I always carried my books with me and my laptop. And when I wasn't competing, I was sitting down doing the work and doing my homework and submitting it. So I never fell behind. I never missed a deadline. I never not completed stuff because of trap, because I always carried my schoolwork with me. And I knew that, like I said, I knew that I had to get it done, so I got it done. So just having that mentality of knowing that you need to get stuff done and you need to prioritize helps a lot. Do you do track and field? Oh, that's pretty cool too. Yeah.
Okay, would you say that in the IT field, you work with people more as a group or you work by yourself?
I think it's going to depend on the project and the type of work you do, because IT is so broad. So you could be a programmer or you could be an infrastructure person. So it's I think it just kind of depends on the project. Do you like working on groups more or by yourself more? Okay, this could be the field for you.
Yeah, I would say it depends on the company that you work for. Technology is so broad. So I took an internship at ConAgra, which is basically a support IT group for the firm. So that's one way to approach it. There's also companies who build products. You might be on a product development team, and you're just given the requirements in the developer's case. And yeah, it is a solo field or a solo kind of work. Where I work, it's very collaborative. We have multiple teams and we're talking to each other all the time. It's an open environment, so nobody has cubicles. But a lot of people, who do like to work alone just put on giant headphones that kind of say, don't talk to me unless you need to.
So I think the majority of these ladies are in industry or government. So you go talk about industry, government, or academia. And I'm in academia, and it's pretty consistently been 50% collaboration, 50% doing stuff by, coding or doing whatever by myself. So it's about 50-50 if you go into the university position.
Okay, I don't know if any of you other ones traveled like outside of the country, but okay, so I don't know if anybody else like traveled outside of the country, but when you traveled like to Norway and stuff, were you nervous or scared too? And like, what exactly did you do over there?
So first, I'm originally from Jamaica, so being here is traveling outside of where I'm from. So I have the personality where I just jump in and do things, or I love adventure or experiences. So traveling to Norway, where different language on the other side of the world, was kind of like a exhilarating experience for me, because I was just like, ooh, I don't know. Well, I did know people because we had Norwegians that came here first, and then so it was good that I knew people. But I was the type of person who's just like, oh, I'm just gonna get up and go somewhere or do something. So I wasn't nervous. I was more so excited. And then when I studied abroad in Norway, I went to like Germany and Spain and England. And me and my friends were just like, we're not doing anything this weekend. Let's jump on the train and go somewhere to a completely different country in which we didn't know the language and no one was, could help us. But we're just like, we just did it. It's all about experiences for me. So I was not nervous. I like thrived on like the unknown kind of, which is probably not the best approach to take on life, but
I also got to study abroad, but I think it was a different approach. So there's studying abroad where you spend a semester and you go to classes and stuff like that. But for a capstone tour of a program that was English and philosophy and history, they took us on a tour for Europe. So it was like a 3-week guided tour with a lot of friends from classes and stuff. So it might be a lot less scary than spending a semester somewhere too.
Okay, so before you guys were dating or married or anything, beginning years, did any of the guys try and flirt with you, or were they talkative, or were they just quiet?
I would say on main campus, yes. At PKI, no. Right, I think that's how we.
Yeah, that's a good point. Once you're down at the PKI computer science kind of world, yeah, they're pretty quiet.
So me, like I said, I was everywhere and I did everything. So the only time I was in PKI was when I was working on campus or I had class. Other than that, I was never there. So all the attention and boys and everything was on the sports side or on the other side of campus. So different experience. So my words of advice to you, since you're clearly into like, boys and everything, is don't stay at PKI. Go everywhere. Try different things. Go on main campus. Main campus is like so much bigger and so much more interactive than PKI. Well, I don't know how it is now. I mean, I only left 2 years ago, but things can change in a short amount of time. So just experience things everywhere and be exposed to, like, go into hyper and go work out or pretend like you're working out and or intramural sports. That's a good, I couldn't do that because of track and field, but intramural sports is a great way to interact and stuff like that. So
I was going to say the guys at PKI are really intimidated by girls, I think, especially girls who are like on their level, of intelligence and, technology and all that. But all the guys would always talk to me in my classes when they saw me like playing Minecraft before class. So if you do want to get a guy to talk to you, just like pull up a video game on your computer. Yeah.
I'm totally in agreement with that. Yeah. Like if PKI, they are quiet, but if you can get them talking like, oh, that guy looks at Reddit, so I know what Reddit is. So then you like, exactly, you can get them talking once you know what they're into.
And yeah, you realize that guys in the IT world just talk about something that they are remotely interested in, then they don't shut up, for real.
So in high school and college, other than your classes or if you're in sport, what things did you like to do for fun?
I was in sorority, so I hung out with my sorority friends. I joined that more for resume building and kind of was pleasantly surprised. So we would hang out with fraternity guys, which is fun, but it's not like you're at Arizona State and it's like woo party all the time. It's more of a subdued Greek life. Other things we did for fun, I got into intramural sports and running, which I think really helped too with balance. I'm not a fast runner. I wouldn't even run outside because I was too embarrassed because I ran like 15-minute miles, but I would go to hyper and run around the track, and that felt fine. There's an old guy who would always run and run with me kind of a little bit. So I think finding things that it was fun because he was slow too, and I could be him. But so the things that I like to do, I guess, were also beneficial for my balance because sorority made me have good grades. You have to have good grades, and then the running thing kept me in shape and kept me like mentally sane.
When you went and traveled to Norway and studied abroad, did you like go to colleges to study or like where did you study?
So I went for Norway. It was I went to school. It was like normal school, but I took the classes there. And the good thing about the Norwegian program is that if there was at least one international student, the entire class was taught in English, thank God. So I did that. It was like a normal semester, but just in a different country. When I went to Vietnam for the summer, it was basically just an all expense paid trip to go to a different country because the only requirement was to write a 30-page paper on a topic of my choice, and it was due after I came back. So it was like a cultural immersion. Like I told you, like look stuff up. You'd be surprised at the opportunities that are available. Okay, it was fully, and I stayed with the host family. It's kind of like a culture shock. I was like the local attraction because if you've met Vietnamese people, they're short, and I'm not. So, so I went there, and then we had structured things where we went to the school and learned about the school, and then we volunteered and spoke at primary schools and prep schools. But for the most part, it was just like a cultural experience with a paper on the side.
What grades should you get or classes that you should take in high school? Like, what grades do you need and what classes are you take?
Good ones.
Sorry, what grades should you get and what classes? Yeah. You mean in college or in high school? Oh, in high school. Okay. So what Pam was saying earlier, take as many of like the upper level classes that you can in high school. Like if your high school offers like AP Calculus, AP Physics, AP Bio, or whatever, take those classes and then take the AP test while you can. And then you'll have those credits given to you for free once you get to college. And then that'll clear up your schedule for other classes that, you know, are actually interesting to you, one. And then two, you know, you'll get through your degree faster.
Yeah, my high school also offered dual enrollment, which I think is just a little bit different than AP because whatever grade that you get in that class goes straight onto your college transcript. So any of those that you can take, yeah, we'll take off those kind of non-elective courses that you won't have to take again once you get to college.
And I think we have time for a couple more questions. So we have one right here.
Okay, so I'm a runner, and I know a couple of you run up there. So I was wondering if, like, when you're in running season, do you think that like helps you while you're in class, like to be more on top of things and things like that?
I didn't know what to do with myself when I wasn't practicing. So yeah, like when I'm so used to not having time and managing it. So when I had so much free time, I wasn't quite sure what to do with myself. So it helps. So I needed to actively be busy. So track and field help, and you know, doing other things help. Did I answer your question? Okay.
I started running actually at my career now. Everybody I work with runs, and so I just kind of got pushed into it. But I am mind blown that I didn't start before because it's such a mental release. Like I think all day in math, and it's so nice to just go out and clear my head. It's so refreshing.
We have the last question right here by Mackenzie.
I've asked a lot of questions. I talk a lot. All right. So, you said you're from Jamaica, right? How did you end up over here and exactly at UNO? That's what I want to know, because like I think that's cool. And like I heard your accent, but I didn't know for sure like where you're from. And then when you said you're from Jamaica, I was like, oh, that's cool. How'd you end up over here?
So it all comes full circle to track and field. I got the coach here at UNO actually came to Jamaica, and he was at one of the track meets that I was competing at. He saw me and liked me and was like, hey, do you want a full scholarship to University of Nebraska? And I was like, I don't know where Nebraska is, but okay. And so that's how I ended up here.
Well, we definitely want to give these ladies a hand and say thank you for coming and answering your questions and being so candid. So at this point, you guys